All right, we are going to talk about the supporting cast of the film The Batman, and we're going to start with the villains. And these are really a big highlight of the film for me, especially Colin Farrell's turn as the Penguin. I just thought he was having so much fun in the role, and that fun was infectious. And I just thought he was wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think by far that is the standout. I mean, he's not in it for probably very long if you're talking in a terms of minutes, but sort of the scenes he's in, great. That whole chase scene with the car, also great. It yeah, like you say, I think he was just having a really good time in the role. I think it showed on screen.
I think that it was interesting. He was definitely the most comedic of the three villains in the film, but I think that he still posed a bigger threat to Batman at times than even Falcone, because Falcone was sort of just wandering around in the background. He just sort of drifted in and out of the movie when the plot demanded it. But
yeah, pretty generic, I felt. I mean, no disrespect to the actor, probably a far better job than I can do, but it was sort of I think, like you say, sort of there for the plot purposes and sort of not much else. Whereas sort of I think Penguin much more iconic, and sort of the way this is set up at the end. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they probably do have some sequels in the works, but I mean, especially with the end scene in the jail, but that would certainly set him up to come back and sort of get into more hijinks with the Batman.
Yeah, he's actually signed on to star in an HBO Max series, which is going to chronicle his rise to the top of Gotham's underworld following the events of this film.
There you go.
So I think that starts filming later this year, and that will be very interesting to see. They're basing it sort of on the Scarface model, so that's some pretty good inspiration to work from. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like John Turturro, he was interesting as Falcone, but I think like the sort of laid back persona that he brought, I think it was a little too much, and he didn't really have that that threat to him. I don't think there was enough venom in that performance, because I understand that he was laid back because he sort of controlled everything, and he knew that he was always in control of a situation or whatever, and he always had the power in a conversation with someone. But yeah, I still think that there was a bit of bite lacking in that performance.
And I think that was probably the point of it, because it was sort of like everybody was so scared of him and sort of didn't want to sort of name him and all of that stuff. They'd rather die than do that. And it's sort of like, you don't have to flex if you know you're the alpha dog, the big man on campus. So I think that was, but I think it was sort of almost just sort of generic mobster villain, which you could have in any movie. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Batman movie or something like that. So no, I think it was fine for the plot and got us there in the end.
Yeah. And of course, Riddler. I mean, I just loved Paul Dano in this role. He was just perfectly cast, whether it was written for him or he was just perfectly cast. Yeah, I thought he was so creepy, especially in that opening scene. He brought a good sort of serial killer twist to the character, and even like the intimacy that serial killers have with their victims, whether they're alive or dead at the time. Yeah, he brought that, and like the way that he straddled Mayor Mitchell in that opening scene after he'd beaten him senseless, and like with the gaffer tape and everything, was
and
then the
nice long
creepy stuff.
You don't watch that and go, this isn't a creepy person. set the tone perfectly.
Yeah, he does make a mean cup of coffee. Oh, I suppose he didn't make that cup of coffee, but he's very artistic with the foam art that he brings.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And another thing, like, did he ask for the question mark, or did he somehow do it afterwards? Who knows?
Yeah, because watching it last night, he's playing with, like, he's got a like a straw or something,
Spoon,
and he's playing with it at the time, and I wonder if that was when he was forming the question mark. But that was one perfectly formed question mark. I dare say it was CGI'd. It was that perfect. Yes, but and he also eats pumpkin pie. I mean, I know pumpkin pie is a delicacy in the United States, but I've tasted it and it's disgusting. Have you tasted it?
I have. Last time I was in the States, it was at a Halloween time, and
yeah,
I actually quite enjoyed it. So I don't know. I think we have to disagree there.
Oh dear, our first point of disagreement. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about the villains?
Yeah, I think sort of like the twin doorman of the club, sort of that the comedy there kept it, well, not so much comedy, but sort of the little joke there, or sort of like they'd come and go, and sort of that makes it sort of feel a bit more like a maybe a bit more traditional Batman, sort of tying the old and the new. But
yeah,
I mean, in terms of villains, I think we've sort of covered most of them. But no, I think pretty A1 job, I think.
Yes, for sure. I'll be very curious to see who the villains are in the next film. Because I think Matt Reeves has expressed interest in doing Mr. Freeze, and geez, I mean, it's quite a legacy that Arnie has left. For that character, I mean, but
it'd be very interesting to see sort of where they go to more of the realistic character, as opposed to sort of the over the top sort of super villain type characters that they've had in the past. So no, I'd love to see a sort of more grounded in reality Mr. Freeze.
And I wonder as well if they'll go for a female villain to make it a bit less of a sausage fest.
Maybe a Poison Ivy or something like that.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I think Poison Ivy lends herself to having a realistic take. I mean, you can just you can do a lot of interesting things with those characters, because Batman does have the best rogues gallery.